This is the Business Chat Podcast.
Welcome back to the Business Chat. It's season 5. We're downtown Detroit at the Bamboo Building, and I am meeting Sean's friends. Sean from Cogent's with me co-hosting, and really he's running the show.
Nope.
I'm running side saddle. He's got a bunch of interesting friends if you've been following along. And today, I actually know this guy, so I don't need to ask you anything.
Yeah.
Joe Daley, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Appreciate
Great.
you having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yes. Thank you, Shaunston. I appreciate you.
This is going to be a little bit nonsensical and fun because we're all friends. Joe and I work together. There's no secret here with some marketing with Forwal Construction, for which he represents. You engage Mr. Sean here for a variety of services,
Yes.
and we're here having a business chat. So that's my setup. Sean's got some questions for you, man. I'm going to watch while this
So,
part
Joe,
starts.
thanks very much for hanging out. I know we get a chance to hang out on a regular basis, and we have we've had some amazing laughter, but also some really cool strategic things that we've done over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about this podcast to kind of talk about some of those things of how we went from, like, we may talk about your org chart.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Did you bring it with you today?
I didn't bring my org chart today.
Okay, so
In spirit
we may
this year.
talk about the org chart. It may come up. He didn't know I was going to say it. So perhaps the org chart could come up, but also some of the whiteboard things of our sessions. I have some surprises for you that may weave
Great.
into our discussion today. So for all you listeners, like, hit the volume up a little bit higher than normal.
Right.
And settle in, and you're going to walk a little faster on the treadmill if you're outside walking.
There you go.
But I think this is really cool. Thank you, brother. I think
Yeah.
what you've done, you've literally positioned your organization, which is Forwal, from truly rebranding and literally setting a foundation that's truly going to change the game in the residential construction market, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll get into some of the other cool entrepreneurial things that you perhaps may be having out there in the near future. So,
for sure.
But anyway, I think how you've done that is truly unique. So anybody looking for that home remodel or that list of things that I need to get done, or I've wanted to put an addition on or redo the bathroom or whatever that is, you're going to get a chance to listen today to Joe about how he's truly transformed that industry. And we'll talk about why you've transformed it and what you've transformed it from.
Yeah.
And so thank you for allowing me the opportunity and allowing the middle schooler and myself to kind of chat with you today. That's why we put Drew in the middle, so I don't invade your personal space.
I'll keep him in line for you, man.
And so I think that we brought Drew as the chaperone.
Yeah, my bubble.
That's what
Yeah.
it is. So actually, we should have led with that on all these. Just I'm chaperone. That's all.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. So I think
Sean,
that
take a drink. There you go.
Yeah.
Make sure you're good. Are you good? Doing good, buddy?
And this is
Medic. We
just lemonade.
Just
Everyone wants to know that.
That's
so
right. Yeah.
it is before 6. So anyway,
Let's get it
so
going.
Joe, first question, brother, I just want to ask you is talk about an epic problem that you have been a part of, either personally or professionally,
Yeah.
that you have helped an organization or yourself solve. And what I mean by epic problem, we've talked about this, when we meet on a regular basis, but is that you can't write a check and make it go away. You have to work collaboratively, think strategically, and implement tactically. Can you talk about that? Share with the folks that are listening, like, I got epic problems. How did Joe solve his, and what did he do? So share that with the listeners today.
Well, I think if we talk, specifically about the space that we're in residential remodeling, we tend to land in that lower market. We're not doing the custom homes today. We do have some new construction under our belt, but really we land in that like $75,000 to $400-ish thousand remodel. Maybe it's a whole main floor, maybe it's the whole house being gutted, but our space is it's just the Wild West. I mean, it really is it's the guy in a pickup truck all the way up to the big conglomerate that employs a bunch of guys in their pickup trucks, and really that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek way to say it, but there's a lot of there's a huge lack of sophistication in this space. You get up into commercial and you get some of the sophistication out in that space, but really where we're at, there's very limited sophistication. Clients aren't engaged with well relationally. There's a whole lot of disconnect. I think that the story that I heard the other day is actually fairly poignant. We were talking to an interior designer. She said, I never want to repeat what I did in 2024. I drove around to 3 different sites, and I was the project manager for different builders. And so she said I had a desk and a chair at each site, and I would sit at it, and I would make sure that day things went like they were supposed to, and then I would come back the next day, and she's like, I never want to do that again. And she was like, can you manage projects?
Yeah.
And it's just,
First of all, I love the question from an interior designer. Can you manage projects? And it's interesting that as the construction manager, right, the one running the project, that in the industry, she's asking that question because it's not being done. And I chuckle at that. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Epic problem.
Yeah, no,
That's truly an epic
big
problem.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of real understanding for what goes wrong when clients are signing up to work with some of these some of these different vendors. Like, I mean, it takes care. It's the inside the guts of your home. It's probably one of the biggest long-term personal things that you can take on is inviting these people into your home for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, whatever the scope is. I mean, you're with these people every day,
Right.
and like, hey, are they actually prepared to do this? Like, do they know what it takes, or are they going to pull anyone in from the outside to help run things because they may be really good at their craft, but they are not. That doesn't necessarily mean they're good at running things or making sure things get done on time or the way they're supposed to get done. So I would say that in our space, that's just it's the Wild West. It's full of well-meaning people, but people who are kind of fumbling over how to run.
So you bring calm organization to the chaos.
Yeah. We work hard to do that, and some sort of sanity. I mean, really, our goal is to create a little pocket of sanity in our space. Right. I want to sleep at night. I don't want to lose sleep over. Any chaos that we're creating. I mean, it's the whoopsies business to some extent, but you never know what's going to be in that wall when you open it up. But there's so much that we can do to prepare to eliminate. Chaos.
So I just have to. I'm sorry. I need to interrupt for a
I
second.
don't know why you do that. You just go.
I know, but it's your show, and so I think the key thing is, so when you talk about opening the wall, right, and you just know you do this estimate, and then you're like, I got to open the wall.
Yeah.
So I'm just super curious, right? Like the middle schooler in me really needs to know, what's the coolest thing you've ever found when you've opened the wall, and maybe something that's slightly, just
maybe not so cool.
Yeah.
Holy cow! I can't believe we just found that. Whoa! What is that? And I just think that I would just be curious to know.
Yeah, bats.
Alive or dead?
Alive bats that came flying out when we opened the wall up.
You got to be
Christian Bale Batman style,
and like chaotic flight in a tiny room with 3 guys.
No way. Okay, did you have it on video?
Macho contractors.
No, there's no
video.
I was out. I basically teleported myself to the outside of the house. I actually, fun fact, am probably one of the few people that who have had their full rabies vaccination.
As a result of
not as a result of that.
I was like, wow.
I've already had previous experiences with what I thought was getting bit by a bat.
Excellent.
So I've had that. So I just left. I was like, I don't need any more of this in my life.
I'm good.
And
I don't need more of this. Like, hey, see you guys.
I was outside. Dan got it stuck between a window, closed it, and I was then outside of the house. They didn't he said he closed the window, and then saw me outside. So that's how fast I got out from the second story.
And you were chuckling outside, looking
and
at
I was
him.
like, I'm outside. You guys are inside with
like,
the bat.
Hey. So bats, like how many? Like one?
Like 2 popped out, but then when we had the critter getters come, and apparently bats are highly protected, and you can't just. Remove them and kill them.
Strange.
You have to just close up all the holes and leave one exit and hope they leave.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so you can't just go and kill bats.
You wanted to make some bat tacos or something?
You have heard that here, that bats are endangered species is what I'm hearing. So that's an amazing fact that we just learned today.
That's right. The business chat. Always fun. Always learning new things.
Always learning new things.
Residential construction, bats.
What we learn about bats.
Wow.
But they said, there are lots of bats in this house. Like they were like, we can tell by it was winter, so they were dormant. But they're like, if you were to go and start pulling up insulation, you'd probably find tons of bats. So in our area, 2 came out, but they're like, there's more.
Now I got to ask. So I have another follow-up question to that. So,
It's okay.
so with regards to that, right?
Yeah.
That there's more in there. I'm just curious. So when we talk about like on the risk register, right? So did you have the anticipation of bat cost into your cost structure for
We did
this?
not. No.
Do you now have a bat situation on your
Is there a
risk
checkbox for
register?
bats, Joe?
We don't, but I mean, it was,
You don't
I
like
think it was a
infrared it?
I think it was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Okay,
It's great.
okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
I'm done now asking.
Made for good,
some of my impromptu questions.
good stories.
That's so good. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was
So-
about as good as our Chinese story with our other friend that was on.
I think this wins. I don't know.
That was pretty
Bats
good,
coming
yeah.
out of walls. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. So as we talk about, as you look at epic problems, epic solutions,
Yeah.
and probably you're one among the most qualified as you're working, as Sean said, you guys meet regularly and you kind of extract all this knowledge, and even it's really in your slogan. But I want you to answer this. What would you say your purpose is? And yeah, I think this is good. What is your purpose as Joe Daley? And that's broad, right? Personally,
Yeah.
just I feel I'm here to do this. And then give me Forwal's, professional kind of what's the purpose. And it really is more of like a statement piece,
Yeah. Well, personally, I've kind of boiled it down to a statement goes helping people be well and do well.
Love that.
And so in many ways, it's that's pervasive across my relationships with clients, my relationships with my team. Even just thinking about my friends and my family to go like how can I be a part of helping people be well and do well, and this idea of flourishing. What does it look like as we live here on this earth to create some sort of mutual flourishing among us? So it is a highly kind of relational, personal purpose to go. The things that we're about should be about that. So that's something that's really core to me.
Well put. Yeah.
Yeah. When it translates over into Forwal, we realize we're in the enjoyment business, and we think that so much of what we do, in people's homes is not necessarily about resale value, but to go like, how can you be at peace in your home? And so, we've kind of coined the phrase helping people really enjoy their homes. It's like you might be in your home, you might be enjoying it. There might be some things that are great about it, but you go, hey, if we did this, like I could really enjoy my space if we added this.
So do you help get the kids out of the home then? I'm just curious. My
He
curiosity.
builds
So-
soundproof
so how
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
wow.
No, this came up, and then it's funny that you say that. We actually have been requested to offer
I wanna enjoy my home more, too.
childcare and babysitting services before. There was a time where one of our team members was in, and the mom was like, "Hey, I need to run up to the corner. My 6-year-old's upstairs. They're taking a nap. If they come down, would you just keep an eye out for them?" Oh, you're asking a contractor to do that? What an interesting.
Ceiling.
Okay, so
drywall's coming down. Yes, ma'am.
If you're listening in, I just want you to understand what was just shared. Right? So let me just slow this down for a moment. You just said that people trust you so much that they will not only you, but your team, so that it speaks to the integrity of the team that you have, that there's an inherent trust for Mama Bear
Right.
to say to you, hey, listen, I got to shoot on up to the K. Rogers. And so as I'm going up to the Kroger store, I have a 6-year-old upstairs. Would you mind if they come, can you guys just, toss them a nail gun or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
we don't
hang with
encourage
them.
this,
Yeah.
but it was, we kind of,
But I mean,
we
just
wear it
like
with
people need to understand,
The guy's contact
How
form
many
is going to be lit up
contractors
tomorrow.
would you be-
I don't really need my backsplash redone, but man, could you watch the kids
Yeah,
while
could
you
you send one of
think
your
about
guys
that.
over?
Think of your labor rate, right? Like on
babysitting
that.
service?
But just charging your labor rate, it might work out.
Yeah.
So if you could also, thanks for sharing about your purpose, which is cool.
Man,
But
that was really cool.
from a process perspective, I don't know, we've talked a lot about process.
Yeah.
And I sometimes
He
feel
hates
like
process.
I sometimes
He doesn't
feel like a
writing it.
professor
Doesn't
with
talking
Joe.
about it.
We've covered a lot of books. I've done lots of assignments, things like that.
Yeah.
But as you've implemented those things, talk about what's the process of the flywheel for Forwal. And in addition to that, if you would, talk about the impact that clearly defining your process has made internally and externally. Listeners, you need to hear this.
Yeah.
Because it's simple, it's not easy, but it's critical. And so please share.
Yeah. Well, it all started very painfully when we, were initially working with Sean, and he asked us to just list, okay, what are the steps that it takes from when you get introduced to a client to when you close a job. Right. And it was like 11 or 13 steps that were just like kind of convoluted, living in my head, like
hope they get done.
I still have that whiteboard picture, by the way.
Yeah. And like, my thoughts on it, and my team was in the room, their thoughts on it. It was like, oh, we thought we did this. No, we do this. Oh, I didn't know you did that. And it was just this like, oh, like, yeah, I'm running my business in my head. Right. Like this is chaotic.
You're not alone in that.
Yeah, no, it happens all the time.
And that's where, also in the construction space, that's normal.
It's very normal.
It's very normal.
Pervasive.
And you have now solved that.
Yeah. And so, through that, we just kept kind of compressing and pushing and pulling pieces out and, kind of sliding new processes in. And we boiled it down to really four steps. And the first one is just the initial discovery. Are we the right fit for each other? The second one is just fishing all of the details out. And we're going to be putting together construction drawings, and we're going to be gathering all of the selections for the project. And then we move from that to construction contract. So we really front load all of that detail early, so that when we go to contract, clients know what they're getting. Yeah. It's not this guessing of surprises. Like, oh, did my contractor include a big enough allowance for me to buy a faucet? Sure. We've run into that where it's like, a client most recently said, I didn't go back to this one contractor because the last time we worked with them, they gave me such a small allowance for my countertops that like I couldn't even cover it with a remnant. And so then we got change ordered and hit for the cost of that. And so, front loading that and going, clearly this is what we're doing, and then rolling that over into contract, what we call our deliver, where we're, not only performing the work, but on a weekly basis, we are following up internally as a team to go, are we on schedule? Are we hitting our marks? Are we staffing this project properly? Are we, seeing this through to finish? And then, we get to our manage to go in the warranty afterwards. What's our process there? And then what's our aim long term for this relationship that we built with this client? If they're a new client, how do we stay in contact? How do we continue working with them and being front of mind when it comes to whatever it is they might need for their homes.
Cool.
So four steps. It's interesting that the actual building of the project is one small portion of the deliver. Right. There's a lot of work that goes into getting ready for that. And
doing the carpentry, doing the tile, doing the work is like, it's assumed we will do that.
Right. But it's like, how are we going to be well prepared and thorough and thought out in how we approach this?
And like you said, in the Epic problem, that's not really the problem out there. Right. These guys are skilled craftsmen with no project management, no process. It's in their head.
Right.
You can relate, etc.
This episode of the Business Chat is sponsored by Tough Toe. Triple the life of your shoes with this revolutionary solution. For over 30 years, Tough Toe has been the go-to solution to extend the life of any athletic shoe or work boot. Tough Toe is great for first responders, police, fire, for folks in curling, believe it or not, baseball, softball, skateboarders, they shred those shoes. Soccer, work boots, we've seen rock climbers. I put Tough Toe on my shoes, that's right, Drew, I put it on my kids' soccer shoes. Look, nothing is going down in price right now. With Tough Toe, you can at least get triple the life of a shoe that's getting, the toe torn up from all these activities and day-to-day events by applying Tough Toe. It's a low-cost preventative solution that works for so many applications. To learn more about Tough Toe, visit toughtoe.com.
Would you please talk through what are people now experiencing, the opportunity they have, first of all, to work with you if they can make it on your schedule, but secondly, when they make it on your schedule for you to do work for them, if they qualify, if you will, to work for Forwal, talk about what they're going to experience. Yeah. And I know it's something you guys measure and talk about, but speak to that because that's super cool. And it's incredibly rare that predictively, what they're going to experience, which is cool.
Well, I think that just on a tactical level, from a schedule and budget standpoint, that work allows us to stick to those things. So really for us, change orders are rare.
Yeah.
And usually change orders end up being client driven at some point.
I was just going to say,
they're going to come in and they're going to go, you know what, let's mix up our tile, or let's add a couple things. But, we're able to look at the, the whole project cohesively. That's one of our company values, is cohesion, to say, from start to finish, we want it to be tied together, considered, all the parts and pieces woven, so that, we're good on our word. We made a promise at contract to our clients, and it's part of our value of character to stick to our word.
Right.
We're going to do what we said we're going to do. And so, really, in some ways, the experience, from my intent, I want it to be non-dramatic. I want it to be pretty smooth and straightforward. Like, there's nothing flashy about the experience. There's nothing surprising about the experience. Yeah. That fits with my personality. That kind of comes through in the company.
But people like the fact that there's not a surprise. On a construction project.
If we overlook something, and our process leading into even presenting a proposal, we have a pre-bid meeting where our team looks at it and goes, hey, let's review this project and make sure that from estimating to operations, we agree that we're going to do it for this. Sure. So it's a collective effort that we put in.
Opportunity to catch things, be on board. Right. Yeah.
But we make that promise to the client, and if by chance we miss something, or something gets overlooked, then if it's written into the spec, we're doing it.
Yep.
Great. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, it's our word. It matters a lot for us to stick to our word. So it's really, the experience is just straightforward, tactical, creating as much peace as we can in that relationship. And we also say within our craftsmanship value, we talk about our relational craft a lot, which
cool.
Thinking about contractors having a relational craft, that's not really front of mind. Usually it's the real gruff kind of like, I don't want to talk about, but it's like, no, we take the relationships that we have with our clients very seriously. And I hold a high standard for our team to be relationally strong, able to adapt, able to meet needs, able to, just be there and hear a client. And, I think that the thing that clients experience, I can tell a most recent story, and this isn't, this is one of many, but I was talking with a client as we were wrapping up a couple weeks ago. And, one of our project managers is Nate. He's like, you know what? I just need to let you know, we miss having Nate here. It's like, he hasn't been here for a couple days, and we miss having him around, And
Nate is phenomenal, and he has some of the greatest movie suggestions for anybody. And so if anyone is looking for a movie suggestion, please respond that you want them, and we'll have Nate to reply directly to you for his movies. They're incredible.
Nate's going to do that on the Forwal Instagram.
He will.
For a couple
he
months.
totally will.
Do movie
and he will actually talk you through it. I mean, it's just it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So he's so great.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the type of experience that we want when we're talking about the client experience. It's like, I enjoyed having these guys around. It's painful to do work in our house because we're disrupting our rhythms, right?
Yeah.
It's like I wake up and I go, the guys, they're going to be showing up soon, and I'm not going to be able to hide in my space or whatever. We've had clients give that feedback where it's like, I don't like people invading my space, but we consistently get that. You know what? I miss the guys.
Yeah.
It was great having them around, and so in some ways, that's kind of the the trigger for us when we hear that sort of feedback from our clients. We're like, okay, we're hitting the mark. Like it's real good stuff happening. Right. So
I gotta say, so if you're listening in, how many times have you as a listener said, "Oh, we miss our contractor being around"? And so if you wouldn't, I think I wouldn't mind having everyone fill out, share with me. And I'm curious to how many stories we're going to get of how many people that say, I so miss my contractor. I wish Nate would, come over, and I'm so sorry he finished the job on
and
schedule
whatever medium you're watching
and
this, put in the comments. Just a thumbs up emoji if you've done it, a thumbs down if not, or if you want to type out the story. We're genuinely curious.
I want to hear about it, right? Because you may make it on one of our podcasts. Put your contact information. I may call you.
We'll send you some donuts, maybe. Yeah. We'll make it
possibly
up to
some treats, and I ask you some questions. Anyway, continue on, Joe.
As you talked about, and I had to jump in too, as you talk about the epic problem, the brand, really loving your home. I think that's the next place. Sean and I, we've been talking to you all, to his connections here on the show, is understanding the differentiator. And you kind of already said it, but I think if you were to So right now, pretend this is part of the exercise in a sense for listeners, as you're looking at all these little things that matter, man, your process, your people. But, there's contractors listening to this, there's folks that are burned going, yeah, I'm no offense. Joe, I'm not super excited about hiring you because I'm done with even trusting people. But this is kind of your opportunity to say, hey, here's the one thing that truly differentiates us.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah, or 17 things. That's right. Yeah.
We'll caveat 3.
Yeah, but you don't have to pick 1 or 2. That's right. What in kind of just a paragraph, is truly differentiating with Forwal?
I mean, only take 2.5 seconds to say it, but please share with us.
Share
with us your top 3.
Yeah. And we've worked extensively with Sean to just create a playbook.
Yeah.
I think that's a unique thing, just a written way that we do business.
Right.
A lot of that was.
Is that rare in your industry?
It's very rare. Yeah. I think it's rare in a lot of.
If
somebody's listening and you have a construction project going right now, or just hired someone, ask them to show you their playbook and how they function and what kind of internal auditing they do.
Yeah, and stand by for some interesting responses.
Yes, I think that. And they just say, I'll wait. You can show that to me.
An expletive this and that. Yeah. But as you were saying, so
that's one
playbook.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
Next.
Well, I think that in many ways that was the the realization for the need for that came from just knowing that like my company was living in my head. We alluded to that earlier. I realized sometime around the time that COVID set in that I was the glass ceiling for the company.
Yeah.
I was really standing in the way of our team being able to be well and do well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if anybody wanted to advance within our company and experience growth, they were only going to grow up to wherever I was holding the glass ceiling on the company. Yeah. And so, in many ways, I think that's been just key getting it on paper because it's allowed me to hand things off and go, okay, now actually I know the Forwal way that we're going to do this.
Sure.
And then I'm going to bring this person in that I trust on our team. And they're going to add their nuance to it, but we're going to have some parameters and boundaries to hey, we're going to do it this way because this connects to every other thing that we do as a company. Yeah. And so I would say that really establishing that and getting that has given the elbow room for us to kind of take that breath and go, okay, yeah, we actually know how to move forward. I think it's fairly simply that. Yeah,
I'm hearing you say you guys have a plan. It's not different each time, right? It's something you can refer to, and it helps. It's kind of the impartial. It's the pillar that's there, and you can wait. Where are we at on the plan? More than it is going, sorry, client, you're not allowed to speak right now. That's not part of step 3B. You have some flexibility to go, no, we can change order and flex, but at least we can see. Right. Yeah, that's great.
Well, and so much of it has to do too with just control. Yeah. The things that we can control. I can't control how a client's going to react. I can't control necessarily how, if we're gonna find bats in the wall or not. Yeah. Like we don't know any of that. But
well, we joked about this as like our businesses couldn't be more different, but where they're exactly the same is you're asking clients, are you sure this is what you want? Now you realize we got to knock a wall out to do that, and you're good with this, yes. And it doesn't matter how long you delay and you keep repeating. It's almost like the time you start, by the way. Yeah. So there's sometimes not, avoiding that, right? Having the plan just helps you to just solidify, like, oh, okay, that's right. I'm adding that. There's no confusion. It's a change order.
Yeah, and we're not creating the chaos ourselves to add to the other chaos that's happening around us. And that's really the controlling what we can. Letting the rest kind of come as it comes. But,
that's great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I'd say, so with that, maybe the bat story was one of them. Maybe, I don't know if that's an impact example, but now based on kind of that answer, I'm curious where you would relate, a story of Forwal, having that calm, controlled, no fireworks, and then, overpromise, underdeliver. But give us a story about that, where that impacted either a client, a customer you had, or it could have been just, an individual that really was more about your one-on-one interaction with that homeowner, probably one and the same.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think in some ways what comes to mind is the story of not doing it and the learnings from that too. To go like when we know better, it was around this time last year, and I was reflecting actually with my team this morning about it because, seasonally we get our ebbs and flows and you work through all of that. But it was, around this time last year that we started kind of jumping our process because we're like, we need to grab a couple things, ground a couple things, get a couple things on the books. And we weren't, we didn't take care in our process.
I see.
And it handed us a tough summer. I mean, it really did. And so it's like, we have a lot of, examples of learning by abandoning, and going, yeah, no, we're not gonna do that again. We don't want to repeat, that tension of the summer of 24, where we're like, we overextended ourselves because of promises we made by not following our process.
Got it.
And so in a lot of ways, I think that the thing that we're looking at, even today, being in a similar season, going, our clients today are experiencing a very different company than they would have experienced had they come to us this time last year.
Interesting.
Because it's careful, it's
That's
methodical.
Cool.
It's, what's the the Navy SEAL mantra, the slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Right.
But we're really embodying that and going, no, we're going to go slow to start.
Yeah.
We're going to get all of this stuff ironed out so that when it comes time to actually knock on your door and say, today is the day we're pulling this bathroom out, we're going to start demo, the work has already been done.
Right.
And it's just a matter of going, okay, now
let's just execute.
Execute. We know where the things are. The tile is here. It's not in Italy being made today, and we have to wait 10 weeks for it to get here.
And the impact for your customer ends up being able to be that you have folks going, oh, we miss so-and-so. Right. Like they're not having to think about the chaos of the construction.
Right. They're not going like, oh, this was so frustrating.
So all this great planning, they may not necessarily pick up on that.
Right.
But they're just getting to reap the benefits of going, what's up, Joe? Hey, come on in, guys.
Yeah.
It's chill. And
it really is.
That's cool. Man.
It takes all that tension out because, a lot of the people acting in our industry are good, well-meaning people.
Craftsmen. They're good at what they do.
Yeah. But it gets lost in the chaos that gets created around the lack of planning.
Yeah.
And it really does create, oh, sure, I liked him, but I never want to do a remodel again because that was the worst, that was the worst 5 months of my life when it was told to be 2. It's like it drug on forever because no one thought about X.
Right.
And so, So
I want to add that if anybody has any really cool contractor stories that says, I never want to go through that again, you can leave the contractor's name out, but I wouldn't mind hearing kind of like the cool story, the impact, and perhaps it could be therapeutic for you. So if you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments, just your short story. I like short stories.
Residential contractor horror stories.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Yes.
That could be another episode.
Well, yeah. And I mean, to humbly say early before we started doing a lot of this work, I think that our character and the type of people that we've been keen to hire has gone a long ways for us, but we've always made it a point to see a thing through, no matter no matter the cost. But early on, we could have fallen easily in that list of awful stories, and so so it's a thing that we're always just watching for, to go like, we've learned and grown and moved past some of that, and we now know how to manage ourselves to deliver the results that we want to deliver.
I think something worth pointing out too with Joe, for those of you that don't know him, which is probably everybody, and we didn't get into it really with you, is you're a homeowner, you have a wife and kids, you're in it too, and there's that sense of going, I'm dad now, I don't get this time back with these kids, I want to truly enjoy my home. And I want to leave, and if we've got to have plumbing or whatever come in, just all the stuff you've already covered, right? It's that you're injecting in the care because you're going, I sure as heck would want this. And I see that in you. I see you really are going, man, I want to help these people and get perspective. We've talked about too on what they want to do with their home. You guys are consultants in a really unique way. Yeah.
So before we close up today, I have one final question for you, brother. Perhaps could be some additional, sample questions on top of those, but the main final sort of question would be, share with everybody that's listening, what's the number one thing that you would recommend that they implement, and they can implement right now, because something they have control over, to lead a life of greater joy and happiness. And it's something that they can do now it's either personal or professional or both. What is that one thing that you would recommend that they start doing today?
I think for me, a realization over the last couple years, and Chris Thomas, who was on the podcast earlier, him and I are friends, and talking about the concept of control. I think a lot has been happening just internally for me, of realizing what I can and can't control. So I have a degree in philosophy and religion, and so I'm the fact that I'm a builder is an odd.
Said every contractor, by the way. Just another one of them.
That's another qualifier question.
Yeah.
If the person that's coming to do the work for you is not a philosopher, or what did you say? A
philosopher. Yeah.
A philosopher.
I marry, I bury, I build. I'm Joe Daley.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, I sit in my head a lot about stuff, and I spend a lot of time as a business owner worrying about, you know, what a lot of things I can't
That
control.
you can't control. Yeah.
Right. And I think that coming to the realization of like, oh, what is it that I can actually control? And then taking action there.
Cool.
I think that's been a lot of, that's created a lot of peace for me. You know, the things that I can control my actions and reactions. I can control my attitudes and perspectives.
Yeah.
And I can control who I trust.
Yeah.
And that's about the end of the list.
Right.
There's really not much beyond that. And so it's like, I've found myself at different places, you know, as a company owner, as a business leader, trying to control things that are outside of that. And that creates a lot of misery.
Sure.
You know, it creates a lot of lost sleep.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of,
Do you think that that's something that society struggles with, control?
yeah. I mean, I think we all struggle with control.
Yeah.
You know, it is like the things that we want to control. I think a lot of our frustrations in general, you know, it's in our industry, you know, a contractor is super frustrated because they can't control how this client's acting or reacting, or they can't control that this job went a little crooked because they opened up the wall and there were bats in it, right? Like, and it's like, oh, I can, you know, blow a gasket.
Mid job materials go through the ceiling, and that's not, you can't control that.
Right,
You know,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Catastrophic weather.
What
Yeah.
do you do? How do you? Okay, I can control my actions and reactions. That's about it. And you know, we can work to be relationally strong with each other. And so I think that's a key thing. I think that too, when you talk about, you know, joy and success and happiness, you know, in my reading, I look at over the summer I was reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Okay.
And he talks about how, like happiness, success is a byproduct.
Yeah.
And so if you're aiming at happiness, if you're aiming at success, you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
But those will trail along behind a life that has a meaning out ahead of it.
Sure.
And so, you know, his kind of, you know, idea, he was a Holocaust survivor, and he said that the people who survived actually found some sort of meaning to grab onto, and that's what got them through.
Right.
And you know, for the people who survived all of that awfulness. But he's just, you know, it was a theory he was working on before he went into the camps, and it was a theory that he continued
I didn't know it was prior to.
yeah, to build on after he came out. So his experience in a lot of ways validated that. Right. But I think that's been a thing for me too, is to go, okay, if I'm aiming at being successful, I'm also going to kind of find my own misery there, because I can't grasp it, right? That's the thing that's outside of my control to grab onto. Yeah. But if I'm going, okay, what am I here for? What am I actually, you know, going to strive for? Then, you know, success is just getting in the arena. Yeah. Like today, did I do something to help others be well and do well? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I was successful today.
Yeah, and our customers, our clients will be unhappy once in a while with the best process. 20 years from now, you keep refining, and you can't control that. I like that speaks to me, and I'm sure a ton of people listening that are entrepreneurs too, going, yeah, I can relate. And I've already tried what you just said, Joe. I'm actually in my 60s, and we used to do all that. But I think if your aim, like you said, that's really, really significant. If your aim is for, you know, seeing them, if your satisfaction's in there, like, good job. You know, it's the people-pleasing trap. It's a classic one, right?
Right.
You want to give your client a good product, but you also have to go, hey, all I can control is my process. Like, ma'am, I couldn't help that. You added this thing, or a tree fell on it, or, you know, yeah. That's really cool, man.
So
great.
Cool. Well, thank you, brother. I really, really appreciate you being on and sharing that with us. Thanks for, you know, being vulnerable. I think that everybody listening, one of the things that's going to be really cool is we're going to have some information for how you can contact.
That's right.
And get in touch with Joe. And if anything, just ask him questions, right? Yeah. I think that in of itself, from a discovery side, I think is really, really cool opportunity, and just how you've done things and how you live your life. I think that's just, it's a joy to hang with you, brother. Yeah. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for being on, and thank you for allowing me to be me when I talk to you. So
thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it.
Thanks both of you guys. Yeah, we'll have all Joe's information, like you said, at the notes of the show. So thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep, thank you.
The Business Chat is a production of Suited and Suited Studios. End the chaos and experience marketing relief with one full-service solution. Visit looksuited.com for more information.